You ready?
There is a connection between the paranormal, UFOs, and the myths of ancient history. The clues are scattered across the landscape from a forbidden past, maybe even in your own backyard. There is a connection between the true nature of our reality, consciousness, and the unexplained. I'm Carl the Crusher. Let's explore the unknown.
Doesn't that just look exactly like a giant dragon skull? And then look at this giant guy. Look at that. And it just gets weirder when you walk up here because there's a cave underneath his head, almost like two serpents intertwined out here in the bottom of this prehistoric dried up riverbed. This was a dwelling site for ancestral Puebloans and the Hopi and other people that lived in this area. It connects all the way back to the legends of Chaco Canyon, the Grand Canyon, Star People, Ant People, the oral traditions where they speak about giants and all kinds of supernatural stuff. Is this sign of what we were talking about, the mud flood? Some of these that look like a necklace around an entire figure with a head and horns, and this just looks like a necklace up at McConkey Ranch near Skinwalker Ranch. That's what I see there. It's like an ammo box. He's like taking off from the earth. Pay attention to this symbol here. It almost looks like a tunnel going down into a chamber. Are they drawing about like Stranger Things? Is this like our reality in the upside down? Because we always see these portal symbols in different places. And sometimes there's even animals or people falling out, like they're falling out of the sky.
My visual perception and my sense of balance, I'm like a little bit thrown off, a little disoriented. I feel like kind of dizzy, and usually that's a clue to me that there's weird energy coming off this wall. So I'm going to get my EMF reader out, spend a little time sitting here. This kind of feeling is what got me started on this whole path. I would come to these locations and it was like I would intuitively sense that they were close or something nearby, and I would feel this weird resonance or like a frequency or energy about these places. And I thought, man, is that why indigenous people were attracted to these places for the same reasons? Are these gateways or doorways or portals to something unknown about our reality that we don't understand yet, that they were tapping into when they weren't living like we are now with all of our modern distractions and technology and everything? So I'm just going to sit here for a minute and maybe use my EMF detector. There's so many other panels of petroglyphs, probably 4 or 5 others that I'm aware of further up the canyon that we still have to go find. We're going to definitely have to venture on further, keep an eye on the storm, and see how much we can get in. I have a spirit box. This is a thermal camera imager, and this is a EMF radiation sensor. So let's see what we get. This is it. I'll put links to this if you guys are interested in trying it out. But it's basically, this has everything in it. Full battery level. Let's just go. Already filming, right? So, okay, so we've got EF, EMF, and RF going right here. So right now we've got a pure flat 0 going on. Let's just see if there's any kind of an anomalous. This all started with me coming up to these places with a Tibetan meditation bowl. And the thing would start ringing on its own. Start going, wah, 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 and the bowl would start singing. Getting nothing, maybe here. Zero.
Suddenly get an RF. But it's so small. Whoa, suddenly get a peaks of radio frequencies. Suddenly bumped up to 7 on the RF. 4, see as I move around, I'm catching an RF signal. But it's so small, I would call that insignificant here.
This is part of the evolution of a whole process where we're trying to take not only our intuition, our feelings, our experiences, if we're having weird dreams, stuff like that, where we walk up here and we notice it affects our consciousness and our perception, and then we try to back it up with scientific equipment. That plane is flying back over. You guys remember in last episode? That's a helicopter now. What the heck? Okay. He's flying right at me. I'm wearing a... Look at this. Look, now my sensor's going off. I'm wearing a bright blue shirt. Why is the sensor going off? Is he like scanning the canyon or what the heck? The RF shot up to like 16. That happens every time I come here. I got buzzed by a plane and then now a helicopter. It's a weird coincidence. It seems like it happens. So I'm wearing this bright blue shirt. It sounds like he's circling back around. I'm going to put my hoodie on. So you guys remember when I was telling you guys earlier how I would go explore way up that canyon, and then I went that way because some of you guys in the comments were telling me there was what looked like pyramids in the distance. But I'm telling you, when I was up here, there's a rock formation. Here, I'll flip the camera around so you can see it, but it looks like a big point on top, and I have not been up there before.
So I went all the way up there, and then I went clear down there all the way to the end, and I did find some crazy stuff over there, but I have never been way up to all those big rock formations up there, that big pointed rock. It seems like from here where all these petroglyphs are, that they definitely would have seen that, or that could have easily been some sort of like a marker in the distance that they could have headed towards. But that's what my instincts are telling me to go up this ravine, up this canyon as well. I didn't find really a whole lot over there, but further down there, there's a ton. I really want to do this thermal imager. I'll put a link to it down in the description as well. But I've never really tried playing around with this at petroglyph sites. But I'm also curious. There's always this idea at paranormal locations that there's temperature inversions. If you see like a shadow figure or an orb, maybe we can catch these unseen dimensions or entities with thermal imaging, almost like predator vision, or with night vision if we expand our field of view, because we can only see into the visual spectrum so far. But maybe shamanic people in ancient times, when they came to these resonant areas, were seeing something completely else. But I don't think that helicopter is circling back around. Maybe he wasn't here for me. So let's go ahead and take a look. There we go. Okay, so the idea here, I think I can actually maybe even film with this. So I'll try if I can do that. Oh, it says I don't have any space remaining. Okay, so I'm not able to take any photos. Wow, this actually looks kind of crazy. I don't know. I'm going to try and get this camera to focus. Sorry, there's a little bit of dust on the lens. you can see, look at that. Why is there a super hot spot on the rock right there? What is that big glowing spot? Oh man, it says I don't have any. Okay, I'm going to try to record with the thermal. Okay, it says I'm filming. If I can, I'm going to try to switch the footage over. Otherwise, I'm going to keep going like this. Well, now that really has me thinking. What is it about the thermal imager that's picking up strange anomalies, these little petroglyph spots that maybe they were trying to capture? Sometimes it's RF, sometimes it's EMF, sometimes it's different gravitational lensing and anomalies. And now I'm getting like thermal imaging and nothing else. It's so strange. But what's consistent in all of these is that sometimes when you sit here, you feel it. You feel this weird sensation, almost like reality's kind of warping like this, or like you're in jello or something. It's very strange. And there's airplanes, helicopters flying over. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go figure out this thermal imager, but don't go anywhere, guys.
Okay. I've never found anything like this here. Definitely not in this valley. I haven't come back here even with the eyes to know what to look for. And I know that I'm right at the base of all these petroglyphs up here. And I noticed that the water runs down the hill right here. And so I started walking up here. Not only do I have like a bunch of really cool rocks that I put in my rock hounding pouch, but I actually found a flake right next to a painted piece of pot shard, a piece of pottery. You got to check this out. And let's see if you can spot it. I mean, if you were walking up here, would you even see it? Would you have the eye to see it? I'm gonna get closer. You ready? See it now? Okay, I'm gonna get closer. See it? Okay, first of all, here's this little flake right here. But look at that. That is a painted with stripes on it piece of pottery. See the two little lines in it? That's like what I see all over the place. Now it makes me wonder, I'm gonna have to watch my step. I've never found any artifacts in this valley other than the petroglyphs. This is the first time. That's the third one. He was headed that way. I was walking down the middle of the valley, turned, flew right over top of me. It's weird. It's not like I can really hide. The wind is terrible. It's gonna suck for me, but this is a good opportunity, I think, for me to use the AI software to try and cut out the wind noise. I also have a windsock, a muff thing that I'm gonna try to put over my microphone. So I'm gonna do everything that I can to cut the wind. I'm not gonna whip my camera around. I'm gonna be very steady with my shots and do the best that I can. But I think I'm here. I don't care. The weather's bad. I'm gonna take my chances, bundle up, and let's go for it.
Doesn't make you want to crawl up there? Right by where the petroglyphs are. It seems like you could just go and crawl around, but I'm like, no. way, not by myself, not today, you guys. And I want to try out this new thermal camera because last time I know that we got a weird heat signature right where all these energy lines pointed, and it seemed like people have been touching their hands against the wall. But look at this, like crazy rock formations. It could be anything up and down this mystery canyon. See anything? Any artifacts tucked away? I don't know. Look, it goes all the way up like that. It's crazy. The petroglyphs are right there. Okay. Tell me, guys, is there anything up here? I'll watch the footage back and see, but this whole cliff face is like this. It's just full of little pockets and holes. Areas to hide things. It's like almost like being on Mars. In fact, I think I see more petroglyphs right up there. Guys, look at this. Every time I come up here, the crows and the ravens follow me around. And right up here is kind of like where I've been leaving tobacco gifts and granola bars and little things like that. I've been leaving offerings and gifts around. So this is kind of cool to find this. I think I'm going to keep it. They must have a nest up there somewhere. So we'll just go ahead and leave them some granola. I don't have that great of gifts to offer, but that's the best that we can do. I should really bring like a little pouch or container that has some crow and raven food, some like nuts and little pieces of meat and stuff like that for them. So I come out here, but the last thing you want to do, hike around in the canyon with cougars and things like that. Oh, hey, here comes one flying over right now. I just missed it. That a crow just flew right over where I set that gift and landed like up there on the hill, but I don't see it now. This whole hillside, though, along here, it's just, I mean, you could get hung up exploring every single one of these little spots, right? Stop and look. But I know there's some really fascinating stuff up there we got to get to. We're actually getting pretty close to where we were before, but I keep getting stopped just trying to get there because I keep running into stuff like this. Like, look at this. There's just like a spot to crawl back in there where this big boulder is wedged up, and it's like there's a pocket cave right there. More stuff up on top. It's so tempting to just stop and crawl around and look in all these little places. It looks really cool. See how it's like leaning up in there? I definitely don't want to crawl underneath there though. It almost looks like a deadfall trap, right? I think I'm up high enough now where I can see what some of you guys were trying to point out to me like a year and a half ago, last time I was up here, that maybe off in the distance, once I go beyond the last panel, that there could be what looks like points and peaks that almost look like pyramids in the distance. When I went hiking, I went all the way up this ridge and climbed out on that point of the mesa right up there. And when I filmed off in the distance, some of you guys said that you thought that it looked like there was mounds, pyramids, and other things. It's still a little bit too far to be able to tell, but it kind of looks like maybe there, maybe in a few spots. They do look like natural formations, but once we get up here further around the canyon, maybe we'll be able to spot something. I found this little pocket cave just a little bit further up the valley, and the crows are now following me around, flying overhead a whole bunch. But I can tell you why the indigenous people picked these spots. I mean, the wind is just whipping down in the valley. It's like, it's just jetting down through there. The trees, everything is, all the bushes and stuff are blowing all over the place. But right up here against the cliff wall, especially if I were to go back actually inside the pocket cave, there's like hardly any wind. There's no breeze or anything. It would be very comfortable if you had a small campfire right outside, which in fact, when you look at the cave behind me, there's evidence. A lot of it's worn away, but back up in there where there has been campfires here in the ancient past. Look at the dirt just blowing out there across the valley. See it? It's like a huge dust storm whipping down through there. But where I'm sitting up here against the edge of the canyon, it's like not even hardly a breeze. It's very comfortable. So I can imagine why they picked this spot. If there's more water and abundant food and everything, it was probably pretty nice. Straight up ahead here, this is where the first set of petroglyphs that we found. Right below me, probably 20 feet away, it's like a wind tunnel going down the valley right here. But where I'm standing, up where they would have hung out in the pocket caves and right even along the cliff face here, you guys can hear it. There's like not even a breeze. It's actually really pleasant. Whoa, okay. Yeah, here we are, look. We're back at the upside down guys and this whole panel of petroglyphs. Really glad this thermal imaging camera actually records audio and everything, so I'm going to do the best that I can. Here's some petrified wood and bark right here on the cliff face. Zoom out a little bit so you guys can see. And then I'm going to try to keep my shadow out of the way. So I'm actually going to move over to this side and then kind of walk backwards. So here we've got this guy, right side up, upside down, right at the edge of the canyon. Here's some more little symbols I've never noticed before, like looks like a little star. I've seen this before, reversed the other way, and a lot of times this hump, instead of a square, is like an arch with a square, and then there's a dot in the middle, and usually that symbol means like once you go, so there's like no turning back, or like this is a decision that you have to make. Oh geez, okay, I better not fall. I almost tripped right over that rock right there. Okay. We're going to see this pattern multiple times in many locations. You're going to see this tunnel-like thing going down into this sort of box, like this cross-shaped box. We're going to see this later on where there's actually figures that look like they're carrying this, and again with like a tunnel or something coming down. Who knows what that depicts? Is there an underground chamber in this valley? Something buried or hidden here? I don't know. And then we have the spiral glyph right up here. And then we have, notice it's kind of like this white pigmentation on the rocks. And then this whole area right here is also white, like it's been touched a lot. And I just noticed the end of this squiggle comes up here, curls around and goes right into this. And this is the part of the rock on the thermal imager that seems to glow, like it's giving off a different reading. Now it could be because it's like separated and so it warms up more, like a brick oven. But I don't know, let's continue. Okay, I'm gonna keep carefully walking backwards so you guys can see this full panel. Is there some kind of weird energy here that we can detect? I just want to do a really good job because we're going to get this one on the thermal imager and then move on to the next. Here's this really cool part that looks like spaceman and spacesuits. This guy up here, he's got like earrings and antlers on, like he's in ceremonial dress. So it's like here's one figure, another person, another figure, another one, another one, another one. You have all these characters, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people, maybe 8 down here. All kinds of strange supernatural looking lines right next to these portal symbols. And then up here also looks like almost like energetic lines or symbols for water or the river down below. And then up here, really interesting, you have another portal symbol spiraling down or up. Might be, see how it's going up, and then it's almost like the rock has been touched a lot, like people were sticking their hands in there. See how this is scraped along this line, scratch, scratch, scratch all the way along there, and then it's like worn, like rubbed. See how it goes here and then it goes up and it's like white, rubbed in, like they were putting their hands there, touching. And then you have this one here. It's like a guy holding on a rope or coming out of something, coming out of from another dimension. Who knows? What is he doing? Is he throwing? That could be an addle. Is he throwing a spear? That could be him throwing an addle spear. Because then up there on the cliff faces, you've got more antelope. Okay, so very interesting, this panel here. Let's go ahead and get that thermal camera back out and see if we can do what we could last time. We'll go through some different settings as well. As I move, it will try to calibrate. But here we are. You can see my backpack right here in the middle. There's my hand with my glove on. And so you can see the hot temperature, the warmth is going to be white hot. That's the settings that we have on right now. And everything that's darker is supposed to be cold. So as we're looking at this, you guys are going to be able to see the petroglyph panel if it gives off any kind of temperature reading. So I'm going to stay standing back just a little bit. We'll start over here. I'm going to pan. I'm just walking right now. Let's look up here at the corner where the guy coming out of the portal is. Here, let me go there closer and see, because it does look kind of interesting right now. Here we go. Okay. So there's the edge of the rock where everybody's been touching. So we have the spiral going up right here into the cliff. Let's see if you can see it. It's really hard to tell. There's the crack of the rock where they've been poking their fingers, but do you see where that area is glowing? That's where that line is drawn off, where the guy coming out of the portal up here looks like he's touching. I wonder, let me see if I flip through the camera settings menu, if I can change the display type. All right, now I've switched over to this white hot mode. Let's see if you can even see. You can't really even see the petroglyphs on the thermal imager, but you can see where that area where they've been touching with their hands is a lot. You kind of see the line where that spiral goes up. But it's interesting how they seem to use the rocks and the natural features and then carve along with that for the meanings. So this is where all the entity figures are on the wall. Now I'm going in a white hot setting. And as I walk up here now, I'm trying to go steady. Now we're looking right at these spirals. And then I'm going to walk you guys down. So I don't see anything where these portal symbols or spiral symbols are. Just a lot of heat coming off the edge right there. Then as we come down here, let's see where all this one is. And there's like an interesting glowing spot right there. I wonder if I can switch the settings again. There, when I switched over to rainbow, you can see this spot is prominent. So this area that was glowing last time that I was here looks pretty normal, but where the energetic lines go and connect is now glowing kind of oddly. So there's that weird like diamond pattern. There you can see it in the rock right there. And there's these hot spots. And then as I come down right in the middle, here's a hot spot. And I notice that it's all a different color, like it's been touched a lot. Like there's been a lot of rubbing, a lot of touching all the way across from here, all the way across there. And then right where this spot, I don't want to touch it, but right here it seems like a totally different temperature and energy reading. So let's go down here now and see. Well, that's kind of interesting. This is where the right side up, upside down people are. If you can see that, it's kind of hard to tell when I move around. But they are right there, and then right above it is like this weird spot. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to the normal camera so you guys can see what this looks like, how it looks like it's been touched a lot. What we were looking at on the thermal is this spot right here. Like, see how it's all been chipped off underneath? And then there's all these drawings and symbology leading to it and around it. And then also right here where it looks like it's been touched and rubbed a lot, where this energetic line is, it's like a glowing spot right there. Very interesting. Makes me wonder if this is going to be the case in any other spots. Just a data point. It's just another little piece of evidence that we're looking for, something to think of, a new piece of equipment that we can analyze. And keep in mind, it's the same thing as when we upgrade with night vision and try to come back up here at night and see if we catch anything. We're trying to expand our field of vision beyond our limited perspective of just our normal field of view. You can only see the colors of the rainbow and hear a tiny little sliver of reality. And that doesn't mean that that's all that there is. We are understanding now that there is a much bigger universe and maybe other multiple dimensions outside of our own. And these ancient people who were more connected to these places and lived one-on-one right in nature, relying upon it every day for their survival, they were in touch with it like it's hard for us to understand in our modern society. So it makes sense when they came here and that they were connected, that they would draw and depict their deities, their supernatural gods, and their deceased loved ones in spiritual form and depiction or supernatural form on these walls to commemorate them and to honor them, to leave gifts and offerings and for their spiritual traditions and rituals, because they believed, just like when they would make Kachina dolls and do these petroglyphs and pictographs, that these were their gods, the deities, the star people, the earth people that came from the ground, the ones that held the fabric of reality together and creations, and the ones that were still there existing right alongside of us, doing it still to this day. We've taken a really good look at that panel of petroglyphs. Now I'm actually up on an upper cliff ledge. I don't want to get too close. It is a little bit deceiving. I don't mean to whip the camera around, but yeah, I'm up on a ledge right now, and there's just pocket cave after pocket cave. And I already noticed on that rock face behind me we've got more petroglyphs to go check out. Over the last couple of years, I've had to get significantly better at being able to tell the difference between what is just rock and stone, what's actual evidence, where there's bones. See, there's a bone right there. A little rodent bone. There's some petrified wood. But being able to tell the difference between a pot shard and just shale and rock and different debris is something that's been a learning curve for me. It's very easy to come up here and this looks like a pot shard, but it really just flakes off of the layers of the sandstone and the sediment and deposits here and looks a lot like it. But once you get an eye for the actual artifacts and the pottery, it's like you can spot it. You sniff it out, it sort of stands out, almost like you hone in on it and you kind of get a sense for what you're looking for. But if you do find it in these indigenous locations, leave it alone. It's not yours to take unless it's on your own private land. You shouldn't mess with it. But all this looks like, if you're gonna find anything, you'd probably have to dig and sift down, which I'm not gonna do. So watch our step, huh? Ooh. I tell you, these guys were brave back in the day. There's the petroglyphs right there, way up here on this cliff. All right, let's go. Those go back in a lot farther than they seem. Looks like he's going somewhere. This is one of my favorite panels of petroglyphs in this entire canyon. A little character, or maybe a bird, up on his arm or shoulders right here. And now look at this. What is he carrying? And his hands are upraised. I've seen this at another canyon with the arms up. See, a depiction of a whole figure with the head and arm with his hands up like this. And look at the toes. There's the doorway. It almost looks like a door. A big square. Whoa.